Oh, sure. My name is Lenore Skenazy. I'm president of Let Grow, and I'm founder of the Free Range Kids Movement. Oh, so Let Grow is a nonprofit in the United States that's trying to reintroduce independence into kids' lives, because we think that independence is a really important part of growing up. And if you don't have any experiences out on your own, you're sort of undeveloped. Well, think of what free play is versus an organized activity. If an adult is, say you're playing soccer, I'm talking to the rest of the world, we play baseball, everybody else plays soccer. If there's a coach there, the coach is telling you when the game begins, when it ends, who's on what team, was it a foul, did somebody score or not. Actually know so little about soccer, I think that's what a coach does. But if you're just playing with your friends, you have to figure out, what do you want to do? Who's going to be on the team? What if somebody brought their little brother along? What are you going to have him do so he doesn't go crying and your friend doesn't have to go home with him? And so you're figuring out compromise, and you're explaining how to play the game, and then you're incorporating your friends, and you're deciding, you're bored, you want to change the rules. Okay, let's all vote. Can we do it backwards? Can we play only with our elbows? That's creativity, it's democracy. And if I foul you, we have to figure out whether that was okay. Can we continue? And so we learn how to get along. And if you're just in an organized activity, there's an adult there teaching you a skill. You might be learning chess, you might be learning soccer, but if you're playing with each other, you're learning all the skills of being a human. And you take that out of kids' lives, and all they learn is how to be a student. Well, that's so interesting, because the way Let Grow was formed was a man named Jonathan Haidt in America, who wrote The Coddling of the American Mind, was speaking with another educator about what is happening on college campuses that young people seem fragile. If they're going to the mental health services in like double the numbers they were even 5 years ago. And I think it's good to see a counselor if you need some help, but there was something about anxiety and depression going through the roof, and a certain fragility. Like if you said something to me and I disagreed and I thought you were wrong, rather than engaging, because that's what college should be, I would feel like I'm hurt. I feel uncomfortable, so I'm unsafe. In America, it's a big thing to say I don't feel safe simply because you disagree with somebody. And so John Haidt and also Peter Gray were talking about what is happening to kids earlier in the pipeline, that by the time they get to college, they're not ready for this free exchange of ideas and for the independence of being on their own. It must be that they're being grown like sort of hothouse flowers. And who is looking into this overprotection and trying to reverse it so that kids become more resilient? And they found me. And so together we started Let Grow with the aim of creating kids who are so used to solving problems on their own and maybe having an argument and figuring it out and still being friends, that by the time they get to college, they're ready for this giant exchange of ideas and maybe some of the confusion of being on their own for the first time. So Let Grow has 3 different prongs. One is that we're trying to create an online community of parents who want to give their kids more freedom, who might not know other parents like that. So I can go on Let Grow on the Facebook page and talk to other parents who aren't going to think I'm crazy if I say, I'd like my 7-year-old to walk to school. Anybody, have any tips for that? Or my 12-year-old won't get off the couch. What anybody else dealing with that, and it's not people going, you're crazy to let your kid out and it's dangerous out there. It's a warm and supportive community. So there's the online community, and then we're trying to change the laws in the United States. Sometimes parents are afraid to let their kids walk outside or play outside because somebody might call and say there's a child outside, and sometimes that's considered dangerous. So we want to make the law say that it's not illegal to let your kid play outside or walk to school. But then we're also doing 2 initiatives through the schools. Both of these are free. One is the Let Grow Play Club. You asked what do kids get out of free play that they don't get from organized sports. Well, we're trying to create free play clubs before or after school, at the school, where there's a bunch of kids together, there's a bunch of balls and jump ropes and cardboard boxes and magic markers, and the kids just come and they make up their own games just to get the creativity flowing, just to get those relationships going, just so that the 10-year-olds are playing with the 5-year-olds. You know, you could have a lost soul of a 9-year-old who everybody thinks is kind of the weirdo and they don't like him, but if he gives the 5-year-olds all piggyback rides, then they love him. And then he can come to school and he's not the loner. So you just need free time for free play, and the kids are off their devices and they're at school, so even if you live in a dangerous neighborhood, it's a safe place. So we're trying to start Let Grow Play Clubs where there's an adult on the premises, so nothing, you know, so parents feel safe, really for the parents' sake, but they don't organize the games, they don't solve the arguments. So that's one initiative. And the other initiative, even easier, is the Let Grow Project. And that is where teachers give kids the homework assignment, go home and do one thing on your own without your parents. And the kids go home and they say, Mom, I have to do something without you. And even parents who have been very reluctant to let their kids walk to school, run an errand, climb a tree, say, oh, I have to? And once they do that and they see their kid climbing the tree, Mom, look at me, or the kid comes home with the bread from the store, that's the only thing that I've found in 12 years of talking about this same topic that breaks the cycle of overprotection. Parents have to have their fear for their kid replaced by this real joy of seeing their kid blossom, and then they let them do it some more. So after 12 years of giving lectures about why overprotection is bad, anxiety is up, depression is up, competence is down, blah, 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 nobody cared. The only thing that can change parents is their kids. And so the Let Grow Project, by making the kid have a little bit of independence, changes the parents, and of course it changes the kid. Yeah, in high school, well, it's in America, but we do have something that we think is great. It's called the Think for Yourself Essay Contest. One of the things that we're worried about on campus is that kids are so used to having the right answer that starting to hear other ideas, maybe people they disagree with, is almost upsetting to them. So with our Let Grow, with our Think for Yourself Essay Contest through Let Grow, we're asking kids to write essays about, write a thank you letter to a jerk that you learned something from, even though you didn't think so at the time. Or write about a time you had a big argument with a good friend. What did it take to remain friends? Or write about a time that you wanted to speak up but you were afraid to because you thought that other people would disagree with you. We just want them to start thinking about how valuable it is to disagree, to open your mouth, to have friends who have different viewpoints from you, and that, you know, being exposed to new ideas is not bad. And in fact, this jerk that you learned something from, you're grateful for. So remember that sometimes you can listen to people and you think, what an idiot, but there's a little bit that you can get from them. So keep yourself open to the world. We have very little data so far, but what I've seen from if you could figure out how to get more data, that's one of the reasons I'm here at this conference, is to find people who are interested in studying it. But I have interviewed a bunch of kids who have done the Let Grow Project and the parents, and the kids have said things that were very surprising to me. Not only that they're happier and they're more relaxed, that actually didn't surprise me. What I heard is that they have more friends. And I didn't quite understand how doing something on your own would mean that you made more friends. And it seems to be, and I wish somebody would study this, that once the kids start realizing, like, oh, I can do this, I can mess up, it's not the end of the world, they're not so worried about perfectionism, it allowed them to start talking to other people and not worrying, like, what if I sound dumb, or what if they don't like me, because they're more relaxed, like things can roll off of them. And so by being sort of more confident, it allowed them to start talking to more people and then realizing, oh, you like this, I like this too. I heard so many kids who tried out for things that they would have, like the class play or going to, you know, being on the swim team, because they felt like If they succeed, great, and if they fail, it's not the end of the world. Kids today are so nervous. They really think that everything is the end of the world. And until you show them, no, it's not. You got lost on your way home, you got the wrong bread, you sounded like an idiot and people don't hate you. Until they realize that in their gut, until they feel that, and until parents realize that their kids don't have to be perfect, it's a very rigid, very terrified group of young people we're raising. When I was in 7th grade, I guess she was the social studies teacher at the school, decided to take us kids, we were 12 and 13 years old, to an archaeological dig in our state, which was Illinois. And so for 2 weeks, we're away from our parents, we're in the boiling hot sun, we're digging with trowels and with actual shovels, looking for archaeological finds, and finding very little stuff, I have to say, but it was so exciting to be trusted with an actual activity that we had to do that was real science. And then afterwards, she started taking us around, and we had to talk to the garden clubs, and we had to talk to parent-teacher associations, and we were all, she just put us out there like we were adults. And that had such a strong impression on me that, first of all, she became my mentor for the rest of my life. She was really foul-mouthed and incredibly energetic and old, and just a person that I think I'm becoming at this point. And I dedicated my book, Free Range Kids, to her because the whole idea is people who trust you, you're a kid, you want somebody to believe in you, and when they do, that's the wind under your wings. And why aren't we doing that for our kids, trusting them instead of making sure they do everything exactly like we say? Trust them, they'll be okay, they'll screw up, they'll be okay. Trust is really rocket fuel. Well, first of all, my favorite part of being a keynote speaker here is that I got to meet the other keynote speaker, who is brilliant. He's the head of search at Google. I feel like I'm talking to Moses here. And then I've already met a couple people who are going to do these projects back in their home countries, and then they promise that they're going to tell me the results, and then I'll be able to put up pictures and stories from around the world. I really think that this is going to become a movement in the United States. I started Free Range Kids 10 years ago, and it's a word that people use now. It's in the Oxford Dictionary, so I feel like give me another 10 years. And this project, because it's free, it's simple, it doesn't take class time, is really going to transform education and give kids back some of the independence they need so that they're not so hunkered down, not so worried, not so fragile.